Alright, so the first question, and a question I usually get, is what is my real name? Where did I get the name Hellberg? And all questions that are like that. So my real name is Jonathan, and my real last name is Hellberg, so that's kind of where that came from. Where are you from? I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. Who is your role model is also a question I get asked a lot. And my role models are like people who were really like pioneering the dance music scene in Sweden. So obviously Swedish House Mafia was from day one a huge inspiration, as well as Avicii was a huge inspiration for me. Just seeing guys from my hometown really make it globally with the music that I loved was amazing. What inspired you to become a DJ slash producer? A DJ, like being a DJ, has been a like recent phenomenon for me. Like that's not what I was trying to do from the beginning. I wanted to be a producer because I saw all these people on the internet making cool music, and I wanted to do that as well. I just got into it. I started making music, and yeah, just have done it for a lot of years now. For how many years do you produce? So I guess that ties in perfectly with what I just said. I've been producing for 9 years now, since I was 13. I'm now 22. Alright, how did you start in the beginning? Did you start with small record labels slash promo channels? So there weren't really any small record labels or promo channels when I started producing. I just made a lot of music, put it up on YouTube, and then after a few years I wanted to be an artist as well, not just a producer. So I started like working with labels. First off, Mastercat, obviously, who picked me up really quickly, and from there it's just been like, you know, trying to get bigger and bigger with every song. Advice for young producers who want to make it, it's just like use these small channels, because there's a ton of YouTube channels right now, and channels on SoundCloud or wherever, really, blogs as well, that do support up-and-coming producers, and just get in touch with them, and then take the success you have on those channels and leverage that for even bigger channels, and just make amazing music, and people will support it. So that's basically my main advice for people starting out. How did you get your music heard, to be heard by Afrojack? So my manager has been in contact with his team for about a year, and been getting friendly with those guys, and we had like a few tracks laying around that I really wanted to release. We sent them to his team, and his team and Afrojack really dig them, so they picked up all the way, and here we are right now. What is your favorite part about your job? I guess just making music, really, and making music with other people. I've been in a lot of studio sessions as of late, the last few weeks, and that is just really, really fun. Where does hashtag Taco Squad come from? So this is also a question I get asked a lot, and it's just something I started on Instagram, I think, or Twitter, and it's just like my name for my fan base, basically. It's just a silly, fun name that I use to describe my fans. I love tacos, like I think most people do, I hope. If you don't, then I don't know what's wrong with you. What drives you to treat your fan base like a family rather than an audience? So, from a artist and producer standpoint on this, and not really personal, I think that is really important, and if I can turn this into advice for you guys who are maybe up-and-coming producers, it's always so important that if you want your fans to care about you as an artist, if you want them to care about your music, you need to care about your fans first. You need to be interactive, you need to respond to them, you need to actually care about them if you want them to care about you. One question here that I got from Valentine is, what is the message that you want us to learn by your music? I love happy pop, uplifting music, so that's what I want to create for other people as well. What inspired you to do the song The Girl? So for those not knowing, The Girl is probably my biggest song yet. I released it last year, and I listened to a lot of Adele during that time, so I just wanted to make something that sounded like Adele, but in house, which is something I do a lot. I listen to a lot of music that isn't EDM, so I just like listen to a Drake song, let's say, or a Weeknd song, or a Bruno Mars song, and I hear that, and I'm thinking like, hopefully I can use this to make something myself. What's your favorite synth-based plugin? So when it comes to synths and sound design and stuff, I mainly use Sylenth. I hope like my producers out there know what I'm talking about. So Sylenth is my go-to for sound design and bass and stuff like that. More producer questions here. How do you process your leads? So I mainly just use EQ, compressors, and reverb. That's basically the only thing I use to make my sounds better, which is very basic. It's nothing fancy at all, but that's what I use. Is there a story behind your track All the Way? Sure, in a way. Like I really wanted to make a track that was like your typical Tomorrowland big festival track, that also was very summery. Afrojack picked it up and premiered it on Tomorrowland, and that was crazy. That was incredible. By your opinion, which release was your biggest success? So I kind of covered this already. The Girl, probably, streaming wise, The Girl was my biggest track last year. But All the Way, when it comes to DJ support and having huge festivals, having your song in huge festivals, has definitely been the biggest track so far. Why did you start making future bass? So this is a question I get asked a lot recently, just because I have started making other music than house, and it's just for me to experiment. Really, I think it's awesome to experiment. I've had a lot of fun times doing stuff that isn't house music. I've done house music now for about 5 years, so it has become a little repetitive, even though I love the genre still, and there's people that still do amazing house music. It's just that me personally, I want to evolve a little. And Jeff Scott asks a producer related question and asks me if I don't use distortion, and I do when it's appropriate, and I feel like the sound needs a little more spice to it, I guess. I use a lot of distortion for small details, like in breaks and stuff. Bob asks, what are your plans for 2017? And my plans are just to release a lot of music, hopefully get on the road and do a few shows and meet you guys wherever you are in the world, but mainly just release a lot of music. That is always what I want to do every year. And I think you guys will really like the new music. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, stay tuned for that. How long does it normally take you to finish a track? So this is very like, it really depends on, it's a case by case thing. So a few tracks have taken like maybe 2 days, which is really short. And some tracks take like 2 years basically. I still have tracks that I really want to finish and polish up that are from 2014 and 15. So some tracks can take a very long time, and that doesn't make them bad, or so. It's just like you need to find the right pocket for it, I think. Jayan asks, I hope I didn't butcher your name, dude, but Jayan Dave asks, what sample pack do you prefer the most except Vengeance? I've kind of stopped using specific sample packs, and I get all my stuff from Splice Sounds nowadays, so it's no like specific sample pack. It's all like from different ones, because Splice Sounds is so great that you can pull from one sound from each pack, you know. Felix asks, which Swedish artist / band would you like to work with? Any favorites? I love Zara Larsson, so I guess I would say Zara Larsson. How long did it take before you could make full tracks? I'm gonna spin this question a little and make it more to like, how long did it take before I actually made something that was decent? and that took years. Like, I feel like producers nowadays don't really get how long it takes because they want that Martin Garrix fame within 3 months. But it took me like 4 or 5 years before I actually made something that I, like 2 months later, I could look back on and was like, yeah, that was a good job. Daniel asks a great question. When making a track, how many prototype ideas do you create but doesn't end up getting used in the final product? So not a lot. Like, I usually am a bit meticulous and take a lot of time to just figure out the basic ideas of the track. So I don't like throw 100 things in the project and then figure out what to remove. I'm more a fan of just, I don't know, spending a lot of time on the particular parts, and then, you know. Any tips, asks Flores, on to become more popular or even get signed one day by a label? So I don't think that the goal should be for people to get signed by a label. I think the goal should be to just make awesome music, and if a label likes it, then great. Then you can like work out a deal. But I don't think that should be the goal. I think the goal should be for people to make awesome music. With which program do you make your songs? I use FL Studio, same as Afrojack. So yeah, I've used that since I started, for 9 years now. Do you mix and master your own music? And I mix my own music, but I don't master. I usually send that to other people to get sorted for me. And about that, like, it's usually more preferable. Like, I know how to master. I know how to work in Isotope or all these different plugins. It's really valuable to have a second opinion from someone. Having a master engineer that really knows what they're doing can really be beneficial, since that can, you know, that can make your track much, much better. Who is your idol? I think that Calvin Harris in general is at a pretty sweet place in life where he can just make a lot of music. He doesn't need to do that many shows. He can do a lot of projects that he wants to do, and that's obviously a position I would like to be in as well one day. For a remix, do you start with a drop or the melody? So asks Rick. So for remixes, I usually just start with laying down the foundation, which is the chords and the melody, and then let everything figure itself out from there, basically. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Talk to you guys on other social medias. Peace.